Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Supriya ma'am. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you got host right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Bye.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, ma'am.
Our
Morning.
has joined.
Morning.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yesterday Ujwala was asking me about the assignments. So assignment topics are already there with you. Ujwala, do you have the list of assignments that I have given?
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute.
So till Ujwala gets us the assignments, I would like to tell you that two, three things about the assignments. These strategy assignments, we cannot take it up very early in the sessions because, as Ujwala will share right now, first we need to cover a certain portion and then only we can, design we can take up the assignments. That is the first thing. Ujwala, have you got them?
Just, ma'am.
I will take it.
Actually, I had kept it. I'm just not getting it. One second.
Okay. So I have with me the topics for the assignment. Uh, the first topic is a research topic in which we have to study an organization, submit a report with its corporate business and international strategy using various business models. Second is first written assignment. This is going to be the first written assignment. A research topic and research report comes in the end. That's the last thing to do. First written assignment will be you have to select an industry, study and submit a report on its macro environment, strategic positioning, dynamics of industry structure, strategic fit being used in the industry competition. So this is the topic that we have for the first written assignment. Now, I plan to finish this in next two sessions, two or three, the two sessions mostly. We will finish this topic. Study and submit a report on macro environment, strategic positioning, dynamics of industry structure, strategic fit being used in the industry competition. Okay, so this is going to be the first one. Like I said, in next two sessions, we are going to finish this. Then the third one is group presentation. Select a sector, industry, and present what are the strategies that they have adopted to win over the competition with the entire strategy formulation and execution process. Till the time I don't finish strategy formulation and execution, which is the implementation part of it, we cannot make this presentation also. Now the strategy that we are going to follow to do all this is: number one, as I have been telling you right from day one and even in my orientation, that please select a sector that you want to study. We have been covering a lot of case studies. We have the business environment in our lectures which are going on. Each time we are coming up and we are discussing two or three good business models which are being some sectors which are we are doing sectoral studies. Through that we are doing the business environment. So this is not to just spice up the discussion, it is also to make you aware and to trigger your thought process in such a way that you can select the industry or the sector that you want to study, for your research, for your presentation, and for your written assignment also. So I would request everyone as of now to please select a sector that you want to study, whether you want to study a FMCG sector, you want to study the IT sector, you want to study the cement industry, you want to say whichever sector you want to, telecom sector, any sector that you want to study. Now when you will read your newspapers, when you will attend the sessions, the moment you will start studying a sector, you will have some idea as to what names are there in that sector. Say for example, if you're planning to study the telecom sector, so you would you would want to know what Geo is doing, what Vodafone is doing, what Airtel is doing, what are the who are the players who were earlier there, not there, why not there, uh, the players which are there in the market, what are the challenges that they are facing, what are the opportunities that they have in future, what are their strengths, how come they are in the market, how the pandemic has changed the entire telecom and the IT sector. So you can just start gathering your notes and your feelers about the sector, and also in that sector which particular organization or which particular one company that you want to study. So whenever you are doing your, it is not something that these lectures will provide you with the theory and with the business environment, but also your added readings. When you will do, you will be able to identify a sector of your choice, start reading it. Once we are over with the two sessions, next two sessions, our written report should start churning out, because things will just start working out for you, because you will know the macro environment, you will know the, of course I've been talking about the strategic fit and I've been talking about the positioning also, but we will be doing in our next two or three lectures all this in more detail. I can give you the date as of now of the first presentation for first written assignment, but next two dates will be in June, because we need to complete a substantial portion. Then only you will be able to do those presentations and you will be able to do the research topic, of course, will come in the end, and maybe in the first week of June we can plan our presentation. So we have good end of April, I mean whatever lectures, and May to prepare for that. Yes, the written assignment we can always you can always submit in maybe second week of May, second or third week of May. So you can tell me the date. I'm okay with that, and we can freeze the date right now. Do you have the calendars with you?
Yes, ma'am. I'll just let you know. May second week you're saying, no?
May
So,
2nd, we next, just see when do our next two lectures get over.
okay.
So I have a calendar in front of me. Today is 20.
27th, yeah.
We have
So,
4th, we have 11th. So I
yes,
think first written assignment we can have it on 18th.
yes, yes, ma'am. 18th, yes.
Okay, so 18th of May, we can have our first written assignment, and then we can plan for our second and the third. The research topic, of course, can come in the third week of June, and in first week of June, we can plan our presentation. That is how it is going to be.
So,
Any
ma'am,
question?
I'll take Tuesday as that third week of June ka Tuesday, and you said first week, na? First week
Yeah.
of June. Yeah.
First week of June, we are going to have our presentation,
Yes.
and last week, third week of June, we are going to have our research topic. I just want to give 1 week's buffer. I don't want to give you that fourth week wala thing because this thing. And on 18th of May, we can submit our written assignment. Written assignment, of course, it will come by email, so it does not need any kind of my this thing. Having said that, if there are any questions and queries, please feel free to write it to Ujwala, and she can send me an email for that, and then we can take up all those questions and queries in the class itself. Why? Because so that if there is any anything that you want to ask, then within the class timing we can finish that. Is that okay? So for next 2 weeks, if there is any questions on written assignment, please let me tell them to Ujwala, and she can write it to me, and we can do that in the class.
Yes.
Does that take care of all our questions and queries, Ujwala, as of now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we come back. So anything the class has read, anything they want to share, anything they have, Okay, good to see Siley. I've not met her before. Welcome, Siley. You were there in the
Good
last
morning,
class
ma'am.
also. I saw
Yes,
that, but
yes.
your video was off, so I couldn't really meet you. So we were, yes. So you have come for, you have done your introductions before?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so can we have your introduction, please? 2 lines about you and your background.
So basically, ma'am, you want me to say my name and
And whatever you have done, whatever, why you are here. What happened? Siley, you have gone on mute, dear. Okay. Siley is, I think, struggling with her device. You have gone on mute, dear. Need to unmute yourself. So anybody wants to, till Siley figures out, anybody has read anything, anybody wants to share anything new that has come your way before we start our strategy lecture? Anything that you read during the week, anything that you saw you observed during the week. I think observation is extremely important if we really understand the meaning of observation, and all of you are into emotional intelligence. So I think observation is the key to success in this field of emotional intelligence. So anything that you've read, anything that you want to share, any business story that
Ma'am, I would like to just tell one thing about the Honda. You were talking about automobile industry going for the electrification, like electric cars and all that vehicles. electric vehicles, automobile industry.
Mhm.
So Honda CEO, he has planned by 2040, he will go for 100% electrification of the vehicles,
Oh,
Honda.
yeah.
So that's what I read.
Yes. So electric vehicle is a big segment that is coming up. And in our lectures also we are going to take that up as a case study somewhere or the other. Okay. So anybody else has read anything else? Yes, Janvi.
Ma'am, about the electrification of cars,
Mhm.
the electric cars are going to be, you know, worked on lithium ion batteries.
Yes.
There are various types, but lithium ion are the ones which are going to be useful. And not only Tata, but a lot of companies have started investing in it. And Mahindra and Mahindra have started the electric cars something, but they are the normal trucks, the small trucks and everything. But they are also planning by 2025 to develop buses and everything, so the transportation is easy for all of us, and train the drivers also how to. There should be a person who knows how this working, so that
Do you know why we are going for electrification in a big way?
because green city.
Sorry?
And what do you call it?
Eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly, yeah.
Eco. Yes.
A lot of pollution is happening due to the petrol and diesel cars. So CNG, CNG also contributes to it a little, and
Why,
electrification will.
why CNG is not, CNG and petrol IC vehicles do make a good hybrid structure. Then why are we going for electric? Why do you want to? CNG was also good only. Why are we going electric? What is the difference?
Uh, I would not be able to give the
Anybody,
perfect answer.
I don't want to
ಎಷ್ಟು
say
petrol rate?
Sorry.
it can be anybody in the class.
Hike in the petrol and oil rates have also contributed to the.
Okay. What else? See, why I'm asking you all this, it's not
To
my.
conserve energy, ma'am.
Sorry?
To conserve energy, like the way petroleum is being used right now. So for the future, there wouldn't be much. And also, yes, the C2O level is also increasing a lot. Carbon monoxide or carbon levels are increasing so much that they want to go as green as possible so that they can conserve energy in one part, and another part they can do better for the earth also.
Hmm. Why CNG was not so, even though CNG was not successful, still we are going for EV. Why? So CNG was also an option.
I think CNG offers zero emissions, so environment is like it's more eco-friendly than CNG.
So you mean to say
Electric vehicle offers, sorry, electric vehicle offers zero emission.
anything else? Why I'm asking you this is just to trigger, you should start thinking in these
The
directions.
conveniency for availability of the cylinders
Hmm.
was not easy for everybody to access this. Maybe.
Yes. So it is the convenience, inconvenience in getting the refills done. Number one. Number two, it also came at a cost. It was not cost free like EV is
So,
almost like this thing. And also, CNG ended up taking a place, in the car. So there was a big kit that was being installed, and it was hardly coming factory fitted. You had to get it installed from outside, and when you were getting installed from outside, there was more and more cases of it getting heated up, and the blasts happening here and there, and all those things that were happening. So it was not a very it didn't prove out to be as user friendly as it was expected to be. And electric vehicles, though last till 2 years back, when we used to conduct these lectures and when we used to talk about EV, it only used to be in the government regulations and announcements, and more than that, it was more of challenges than we used to discuss more of challenges and bringing forth the thing than actual implementation. But now we are seeing more and more implementation, more and more of this thing. Like Ola has put up a big facility to bring up to manufacture EV. It is going wholeheartedly into that, and there are likewise there are a couple of players in the market which were not, and the new players in the market, who are actually going ahead with this EV model. So coming back to our, that was a little insight into just a icebreaker to start our lecture. So last time we were discussing about a comprehensive strategic model. Even if you talk about whatever the carrying forward the discussion that we have right now, you know, when we talk about a strategic strategy planning model, it's almost like an automobile which requires a wide variety of component parts in order to function properly. For example, every automobile that we have, whether a sporty convertible or a family minivan, or you have a four-wheeler drive pack, or any such kind of any truck that you have, it always needs an engine. It will need seat for passengers, and it will always need some wheels. Now, though the various models of vehicles and even the actual part themselves may look quite different from one vehicle to another, the essential components are always included. Likewise, it is with the strategic planning also. There are key components necessary to create a sound strategic planning model. If one component is not included, the quality and the value of resulting strategic plan diminishes dramatically. The key components of the comprehensive strategic planning model, when we talk about, the first and foremost comes the core ideology. That is the purpose, the mission, and the values of the organization. Then the second would be a strategic analysis of your external environment and the opportunities and the threats which are existing there. The next could be the internal analysis of the issues which are preventing the organization from performing at its peak. So you need to understand what are your your strengths and weaknesses within to carry out the task in the organization and to take it to its peak. Then also we need to understand the key prioritization tools which are there to single out the key initiatives or project from among the many options that are available. So we need to prioritize. Then also we need to have an easy to use visual roadmap to guide the work throughout the plan's duration, which is a part, also part of strategy. Then a clear accountability for results, and that is where my evaluation and control comes. So all these actually they are the building blocks. So just as in mobile the wide variety of component parts fit together to create the vehicle, similarly the building blocks of strategic planning fit together creates a comprehensive strategic planning model. And there are various ways to do this. There are various ways to do this. And for purpose of explaining, we can say that how the pieces fit together to create a valuable planning process. Each of the key building blocks listed, the way you can see here, they are incorporated into the strategic planning model. And we will be dealing in each of these organizations specific. They take care of each component takes care of some or the other part of the organization specific needs, and because of those these components are there. And in our lectures to come, we are going to deal with each one of them in great detail. To begin with, first of all, we are going to see the strategic mission, the mission, and the vision statement of the organization. Generally speaking, vision and mission statement, when we talk about, you know, sometimes we talk about values, sometimes we talk about virtues, sometimes we talk about ideology, sometimes we are talking about the objectives, sometimes we are talking about strategy. Rarely we know what is establishing a vision and what is a mission statement. We sometimes we are using these words interchangeably. If I really want to succeed in my enterprise, I need to have my vision statement and my mission set right. Because if my guiding star, something that is guiding me, is set right, then I will keep following that come what may, through the turbulent times also, like we are seeing now. We will still be following that. So when we talk about establishing a vision for the company, generally it focuses on its core ideology. What is the purpose of the organization? What are its values? Because these are certain things which forms the backbone of the organization. There are many strategic projects, which comes in the organization, which we use to expand its operation, we use for its diversification. We take a lot of when we are running the organization, we it's like running a motor vehicle. Sometimes we will take the left, sometimes we will take the right, and sometimes we will take the u-turn. But if my core values and my purpose of the organization is set right, then it will help me in my project selection, it will help me in providing me direction, it will help me in my manpower planning, it will help me with my recruitments, the kind of people I want to associate with, it will help me in building teams for the projects that I'm picking up. It will also help me with all the integrations and the associations and the partnerships that I get into. So the vision and mission statement are extremely crucial when it comes to building up an organization. When we talk about vision, we basically talk about two, three things. Of course, these slides also talk about a lot of things. But if you really talk in international standards as to what vision speaks about, vision speaks about the core ideology. When we are talking about the core ideology of the organization, we are talking about the core values and the core purpose. These are the two things which come in core ideology, the core values and the core purpose. And the second aspect of articulating a vision is when we have a future that is envisioned for us. So 10 years down the line, where do I see myself? What are the objectives that I want to fulfill? There is a term, there is a which you will come across, and I want to introduce you with that today, which is BHAG. B for bat, H for horse, A for apple, and G for gum. Bhag. Do we know what is bhag? Big
Yes, ma'am.
hairy.
I can.
Yeah.
It's big, audacious, hairy goals.
Yes. So it is big, hairy, audacious
Oh,
goals.
sorry. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Bhag, BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals. Now, if you really want to understand more about this, what I'm speaking, and you want to really, take it forward, of course, I will be introducing all this in the class. But then, if you want to really learn about this, you can read this book, Built to Last. I think it's one of the cult books that we have, which only talks about the 100 companies which survived for more than 100 years. Various companies which survived for more than 100 years. Now, Sony, it was there since so many years. Johnson and Johnson since so many years. You have HP since so many years. What do you think that these companies didn't face the changing environments? Do you think that these companies, they didn't have their turbulent phases? All these companies have seen ups and downs of business environment outside and inside the organization. They have seen the whole cycles, of business life cycles many a times, yet managed to survive them. What is it that makes them survive for so many years? I think that needs to study, that needs to be looked into. What are these, what makes these companies enjoy that enduring success that they have had over the years? The core values, the businesses may have changed, their partnerships may have changed, their associations may have changed, their geographies may have changed, many things have changed inside, their management may have changed, their CEOs may have changed, but the core values and the core purpose has always remained fixed, while their business strategies and their practices may have endlessly changed, adapted to the changing world. So the word comes adaptability. And that adaptability became more easy for them because their core values and core purpose of these organizations was set right. So the dynamic of preserving that core while stimulating the progress is the reason why these companies have been able to be in the market, be it 3M. You've seen your Scotch Brite. You're a Scotch Brite. So it all comes from 3M. 3M is all for innovation. Innovation, innovation, and innovation. If you read their case study, you would understand that how, when they are making the fit in the organization, how they promote innovation in the organization. It's a beautiful case study when you read about it, that the whole innovation part, research and development, R&D, how each and every person in the organization, the stakeholder in the organization, is empowered to innovate and to research and develop. There is an environment that is created for more ideas to come in and execution of those ideas, how they have done that. So we need to see, for that matter, Procter and Gamble, for that matter, Sony, all these are elite institutions which have been able to renew themselves and achieve superior long-term performance. And why I'm saying renew and adaptability, because we will again see a shift happening in their working styles, in their execution styles, the way the companies will operate now, during the pandemic and after the pandemic. So you're again going to see a shift in the way they are working in a big way. So if we are introduced to these concepts right now, we will be able to again observe, because observation without judgment, without evaluate, there's a way to observe. It's a very, very important tool for all you students who want to aspire for emotional intelligence. Observation is not seeing. Observation is not, putting your two bits together, putting your own judgment there, putting your own evaluation there, putting your own expectation there. Observation is when I am not there, when my inputs are not there, and I'm just observing the facts as it is. It's an art. It's a practiced art which has to be done over a period of time, because the moment we read a newspaper article also, or we see anybody, just going passing our way, it is the filters of our, we've put filters which have come because of our grooming, filters which have come because of our education, filters which have come because of our environment, filters which have come because of the ecosystem where we live, the way we think, the way we feel. All these create filters in us. So, my dear students, start observing without you being there, just the factual way of observing when I am not there. It's a practice thing without evaluation and without judgment, without expectation. So when we observe that, and when you will observe that, you will realize that each of these companies, they have had a vision statement which, over a period of time has always acted like a guiding star to them. Over a period of time, this whole idea of vision statement, if you see, it has become one of the most overused and least understood words in the language. It, when we talk about this, various images, different images conjure in our mind. Sometimes we talk about, outstanding achievement, sometimes motivation, sometimes something else. But when we talk about a well conceived vision statement, like I said, it's about core ideology, what we stand for. What I mean by core ideology is what we stand for and why we are there. When we know that, we will be able to build in enduring character of the organization, a consistent identity that transcends the products or the market life cycles, that transcends the technological breakthroughs that I make, that transcends the management fads that come and go, and that also transcends individual leadership. It's much, much above all this. It's more lasting, it's more significant part, when it comes to all the visionary companies, the core ideology, which talks about what we stand for and why we are there. It almost, it provides a glue. It's almost like a glue that holds an organization together as it grows, as it's decentralized, as it diversifies. If we see, most of the companies which were there in 1960s, 70s, they were more centralized models. So most of the management was done by the central management, the board of directors, the top management. They used to manage everything. Then gradually, we saw an era where, in 1990, early 90s, when we saw more of privatization and globalization coming in. So we were no more restricted to our local and license raj started breaking up, and then we went into more like private. There were more of privatization, more. You read this book which talks about Titan's story. I'll give you the name of the book. I'm forgetting the name of the book. Has anybody read that book? Titan, which talks about Titan's story, how Titan has come up, which is into watches and so many other things. Tanishq, Titan. Has anybody read that book? I'll give you after the break. I'll show you that book. That entire book in first 100 pages talks about what the era was before 1990s and how difficult it was to, run the business when it was all license raj. We will be able to appreciate the freedom that we have today in conducting our business, what it was, in that period. We will be able to appreciate in a big way, and we will be able to feel how free we are. Otherwise, to go for a business trip abroad also used to be, there used to be a string of challenges there also. So privatization took place, globalization came in, so even the international players could enter into the market, and that is when this whole idea of decentralization came. So it was more of decentralization and delegation of work which came in. Decentralization means that not everything is done by the top management. It is others, down the line, also down the hierarchy also, who were delegated the work, who was given the responsibility and also accountability. So this part of a business strategy lecture is talking about the principles of management. So when we are talking about centralization, we move to decentralization. Decentralization means giving responsibility and accountability to the people who are down below in the hierarchy. Otherwise, it was all centralized up there. Then when we talk, then the third shift came when we started operating in teams and projects. So the matrix kind of organization came in where cross functional teams started, and that is what we are seeing now. So we have more project led and team led organizations. So the teams and those project leaders, they will those project teams will have all the they are almost like a mini office that they are running. So they will have their own leaders, they will have their own delegation, they will have their own, so all people from all kinds of functions will be drawn together to form one team which is required for a particular project, and then they will start working with all the autonomy that is given to them. They are only supposed to show the results to the organization. So likewise, there is a whole cross section of changes that the entire business arena has seen, but it was only because of the deep embedded core ideology, which which was able because of which these companies were able to withstand all the changes and were able to adapt, and they came out to be more resilient when it comes to uh, when we talk about the vision statement of the organization. Now I will now the next set that talks about now here this was about the core ideology. The second part that vision statement actually talks about is core values. What do we stand for? If a if an organization has to become like a timeless thing, what are those guiding principles, what are those core values, because those core values does not require any kind of external justification. They are these intrinsic values. So if you talk about Tata, if you talk about TCS, if you talk about all Tata companies, there would be a particular kind of image that will come to your mind of their core values. If you talk about Infosys, there will be certain things, that some imagery that will come to your mind of its core values. If you talk about Apple, there will be some imagery that will come to your mind. So it is because it does not change whether there's change in time, company, and they are driven by a set of values which actually ended up becoming their competitive advantage. And it would sort of it it gave them the pedestal to operate. So if I'm talking about Tata and I'm talking about trust, then that has been built in as a value over a period of time. I don't think twice to put the food in my child's mouth when it comes to Nestle. I just, if it is coming from the Nestle's nest, then I'm 100% sure and I don't think twice. There are many other companies who are selling a lot of things, a lot of food products, but I may or may not, I may just question myself. So that is a trust that the company has built over a period of time, and that's a core value. So that trust that I am feeling as a customer, it is much later. First, that trust has been somewhere, have been weaved into the fabric of the organization. And if we all know how Maggie has struggled it struggled in 2 3 3 4 years back, how it was completely discontinued. I think it is one of the most significant case studies that one need to understand, that how Maggie as a brand emerged as a much bigger brand after so many allegations. And it was only because of the way the stakeholders and the shareholders were taken care of during that period when Maggie was discontinued. It was only because of that. It was the trust that was shown in the stakeholders. Do you know what is the difference between a shareholder and a stakeholder? I'm using this word again and again, but I don't want everybody to understand that. What is the difference between a shareholder and a stakeholder? Anybody can speak.
Ma'am, I'm just guessing it. Shareholder is the one who is owning some equity in the firm and in the company, and stakeholder can be a customer also, like who's using. I'm just guessing.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
It can be a customer, but it can be anybody who's associated with the
associate
organization.
the
Even the
organization.
shareholders as a stakeholder. So it can be the suppliers, it can be my dealers, it can be my customers, it can be my employee. Of course, my employees are my stakeholders. It can be my board of directors. It can be anybody who is associated and getting benefited out of the operations that are going on in the organization. They are my stakeholders, whoever is benefiting. And shareholder is somebody who is only when we are talking about the equities, that's a shareholder. So they have a part of the business. So who's a shareholder? Who has a part of the business. Because when we stock in equities also, it is like buying a part of the business.
Ma'am, there is internal
And if
stakeholders and external
we work
stakeholders.
with equities with that, yeah.
Excuse me. So that internal and external stakeholders, they say that somebody who is like indirectly associated with the company's partnerships and all.
Directly or directly, indirectly, if I am anyway associated with the company, that is the stakeholder. Because I'm some stake in the company.
Yeah.
I have some stake in the profits of the company, that in the running of the company. And that's why I become the stakeholder in the organization.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, it may be internal, external, whatever it is, but I'm a stakeholder in the organization. Okay. So yeah. So because I'll be using this word again and again, so I thought that let me just clarify this so for everybody's understanding. So the third thing, so this is about core values. What is the core purpose? Core purpose is why do we exist? So organizations' reason for being there. It's an effective purpose which reflects people's idealistic motivations for doing the company's work. Why am I there? So everybody needs to know, if I'm a stakeholder, why am I there? Why am I associating with this company? So the core purpose of the organization. Core purpose itself never changes. However, it ends up inspiring change in people. It can never be fully realized. And therefore, an organization can never, because it cannot be fully realized, there's a paradox there. It can never be fully realized. Because the day it is fully realized, my journey stops. And that's the beauty of core purpose. It always stimulates change. It always stimulates progress. These are not the goals. These are not the business strategies, but the purpose of me being there. And of course, the envisioned future. I need to have a vivid description of what it will be like to achieve the goals that I have. It talks about the concreteness, something that is visible, something that is vivid, something that is real. It talks about the unrealized dreams. It involves a time yet unrealized with its dreams, hopes, and aspirations. I want to be there. And at any given point of time, wherever I am there in the life cycle of the organization, this thing always, it's again elusive in nature because my goals keep changing, my hopes and my aspirations keep changing. And of course, the last and not the least, it is the big, hairy, audacious goals. A huge, intimidating, they offer huge, change, a compelling challenge. Because if I am not, I need to have these goals in my life. Something that challenges me. Otherwise, I'm a dead horse. As in life, so in organizations. I'm doing my mundane things, I'm doing my routine things. But me as a person, if I have something that challenges me, which is little far, which is my hope, which is my aspiration, it drives me towards it. Otherwise, I will keep doing those mundane things of life. Ye kar liya, wo kar liya. But then that is something that touches my innermost core. And I will do everything, but I will do that, and that is what gives me joy. And that is as it is true in the personal context, so it is true in the organization's context. It actually acts like a catalyst. It stimulates us. These are objectives which are little far, but it helps me to move. It creates an image, of maybe of utopia of people. It helps me to, sort of have passion, emotions, which are related to conviction, brings about conviction in me. Each time when I progress a little, there is a sort of confidence that gets built up into the entire system. Have we experienced this at any given point of time? Something that is something that I really set up. Do you have these kind of goals in your life? Big, hairy, audacious goals, which maybe only you know about it. Nobody else knows. Or maybe as a family, or if you have your own business, or in your organization, any which way. Have you undergone, have you ever experienced, this is all an experience. Anybody wants to share anything?
Ma'am, pursuing this course itself was a dream.
Yes.
Dream come true. Yeah, and it's working, and something is happening, and we finished the first semester. Everything is like a step by step, and it's giving that positivity in life and to take things in a long way. I have some kind of long term goals. Yeah.
Yes. But
For
do you
ma'am,
think
me
that,
also.
yeah, yeah, Ujjwala.
Yeah, 3 years back, I had done an international seminar, Millennial Mind, and where we were, first time I came to know across what is coaching and, like for me till that time it was like everything is over, like, because my children had grown up, I had left my job previously. And for me, like, it was only the dreams, like my children, what they'll become, then my dreams will come true. But after I did that seminar, ma'am, I was so much motivated, and the way I started thinking that my dreams still can be true in this life, so it literally started, and I started dreaming, and a journey began, and this course is a part of it. I was looking for something, and now I can really see that happening.
Yeah.
And that goal is far away. I see myself as an international coach, standing in a big audience room, with thousands of people, and I'm speaking to them.
Hmm.
That is my vision. So I keep on, sometimes I feel, is it possible? Is it not possible? I said, no, I have to, try my best. So I think what you said, vision, mission. So I was just trying to, I should make a proper vision or mission statement, because that goal sometimes keeps out of my mind. I get busy in other things, and then I said, what I'm doing, like you said, the mundane task, whatever I'm doing, I feel it very. And when I think of that goal, then I am like charged up. Yes, I want to do that. You know, so that is the thing which is driving me, and yes, that is there with me. And I think I should be very clear in my vision and mission, so that then
Yes.
I will be able to achieve.
Because,
Yeah.
it will it's somewhere, and we also spoke out this is an unrealized dream.
Yes.
ड्रीम जब realize हो जाता है ना तो और हो जाता है.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what I liked what you said, ki, that you have to yet to reach that is what driving me, that is my motivation.
And it should keep driving you. It should keep
Yes.
remain unrealized. I'm not saying. I mean,
Yeah.
see, goal setting is I was recently doing a workshop on goal setting. Goal setting is something which is dynamic. So today, as of today, 8:56, whatever, 27th of April. This is my goal. Now that goal somewhere will get realized, then again something will happen, then again goal setting will take place, again goal setting will take place. So but my vision will remain the same. My vision and mission statement will remain the same, but goal will keep changing. But my goal will also keep changing if my vision is there, which is like you said, of becoming an international coach. So that's a far-fetched thing, and these are small milestones. With each milestone, you will achieve something in your journey, and so many times journey is more pleasurable than the destination, because the learning actually happens while traversing the journey. एक बार पहुंच गए तो पहुंच गए, but I'm sure when you'll become an international coach also, वहां से भी कुछ और अलग दिखाई देगा. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Say something.
I would like to add something. So, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, ma'am, I agree with Ujwala ma'am and everything, but one thing I have realized is that mission, vision, values, objectives, all are just like matchmaking. Like all the organization where I have worked, I have found myself comfortable when my values and mission and vision are matching with that organization. Addition to that, all the bosses I have interacted with, if my mission and vision, my purpose is not matching with his purpose of doing the work, I always used to feel the discomfort over there. So sometimes if these things are not matching, your relationship will be a small duration relationship. You will try to forget that particular experience or work kind of things. And one more thing which I have seen, that somewhere whenever I found this is a discomfort with particular thing, and that person and that organization, they tried to change themselves, it became a long-term relationship. And same thing happens with the customer and the organization. So the moment we say Tata, we are comfortable. The moment we say Reliance, we are again comfortable in some things and some other things. Like people used to say that Reliance is not a great sort of organization, but when I worked in Reliance, I found it so comfortable at Reliance Infrastructure because they never delayed the salary. Okay, if there is a holiday on 30th and 31st, they used to pay your salaries on 29th. And for last 6 years, I was running my organization and I have always done that. So that particular values or thing given by Reliance kind of organization to me, I continued for all my other organizations. So whenever some ex-employees meet me, they say that sir, ये नई कंपनी है ना, उसमें सैलरी का कुछ रेगुलर है ही नहीं, 7 दिन डिले करते हैं, 15 दिन डिले करते हैं, बट आपके केस में कितना भी प्रॉब्लम होने दो, you used to pay us on that thing. So that became my commitment, and that thing comes to you in your behavior and the goals which you set. So that is the power of mission, vision, and objectives and values. So that was
Very nice. And that is why if you remember, when I began my lecture also today, I said it's like this entire strategic planning model is like a automobile, working. So like how you said that, these are all the components which need to fit together for the company to move in a particular direction and at a particular pace. So you have actually, substantiated it with the experience and with the example of where we started our discussion. But the guiding thing is that if I start compromising on my values, then somewhere, we have to pay a price. It may be in the short term, it may be in the long term. I mean, that is immaterial. but then we will have to. So when we talk about vision statement, generally, people put some slides together and they will talk about the some material which is there. But then I always feel that these are certain things that we need to understand when it comes to vision, very very clearly, that if these things are right, be it a small company, a mid-sized company, a big company, बहुत बार छोटे स्टार्टअप्स होते हैं, उनके साथ भी हम काम करते हैं, and that experience is a wonderful experience. Why? Because it was a winning team. Why? Their values were right, and we always remember it. Short term में कुछ गड़बड़ करके, and then you make a mess of things at till a particular point you will go well. After that it all goes down. It is bound to go down. As for individuals, so for organizations. मेरे को लगता है स्ट्रैटेजी में कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है जो बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में होती है, एंड इट डज नॉट, इट ऑल दोस प्रिंसिपल्स अप्लाई टू अस. So I think this is subject in second sem. We should not take it as like, in complete isolation that we are studying business strategy. We are actually also trying to strategize from emotional intelligence point of view. So we are trying to sort out our own lives and our own whatever we want to do in life. So we will meet at 9:17. It's 9:02. Yeah. Thank you. हो गया, बाद में आ जाना. Okay, so we are back. I want participation from other students also. Why is it that only few keep their cameras on and only few are they not able to understand what we are saying, or what can be the reason? Either we are not interested, either we are not understanding, either we are you know we don't want to understand, so there is no interest. So what are the reasons? I never get to hear from, or they're just logging in and I mean, I don't mind, but it's how much you want to take from the person who is delivering the lecture, and how much you want to. So it's up to you. But then still, if we are there, then why act like a ghost? Why not be in person? Generally, I will call now the people who never answer and never, I would like to prefix them or suffix their names like a ghost. So, yes, Miss Ketaki, Miss Shiba, Miss Shil.
Yes, ma'am.
So there can, is there always a bandwidth problem, or what is the issue that are we
No,
understanding, not understanding? Because these lectures are supposed to be a two-way communication, and I don't think that they are both. I really don't think my lectures are both. I can tell
uh,
you.
ma'am, I think only in this lecture I'm unable to switch on the camera today. I tried, but then your voice is cracking if I switch on the video because the bandwidth is low
Yeah,
today.
Ketaki, you were there last time. I
Yeah.
understand that. But then it
Sorry.
has to, even if the camera is not on, we can always have some interaction, some talking, because
Sure, ma'am. Yeah.
not only the business environment that we are speaking here, we are also trying to connect it with emotional intelligence. We are trying to, connect it with your individual self. So even if you don't, even if you are freshers and you don't have work experience and all those things, you can always speak from anything. I mean, there are a lot of trigger points here. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, will.
Yeah, please contribute, because if you will start doing that, then trust me, the understanding will be much more. And you will contribute to the class also, and you will not be suffixed and prefixed like a ghost by me. So please do that. Okay, so we come back to our discussion, and now carrying forward our discussion, I will just like to share, listen. So, when we were small, we used to have listening skills test. So I'm going to spell out something of, we know we have somewhere or the other experienced Apple as a product. Have you experienced through iPhones, through computers, the MacBook, the laptop, the watches, or if we not as a, if not as a consumer, definitely we must have come across somewhere or the other with our friends, with our relatives, somewhere or the other. Now I'm going to spell out their vision and mission statement, and now whatever we have spoken till now, just try with your listening skills, and you can write down also what do you really think it fits into the theory module that we have done. We have done theory of vision and mission statement. So does it fit into that? So please, am I audible to all?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So when we talk about Apple, we know that Apple Inc. is a company that was established in 1976, and this company has stands on two pillars. As it used to stand in 1976, it stands still today, and there are two pillars that it stands on. One is of innovation, and the other one is elegance in its design, the quality part of it. So anything might change, but I think these are the two gospel truths that they have always stood by. So it says, we believe that we are on the face of earth to make great products, and that's not changing. We are focused constantly on innovation. We are constantly focusing on innovation. We believe in simple and not the complex. That is, I feel their products, my experience has been there are there, but I have had aberrations when they've said that they were on learning curve when it comes to, more on learning curve when it comes to Apple products than on Android. But the very fact that Apple products never come with a manual, it never comes with a manual, it never comes with that small helps and manuals that we get. That is why that is one of the reasons why they say that our products are simple and user friendly and not the complex one. We believe that we need to own and control the primary technology behind the products that we make. We participate only in markets where we can make a significant contribution. We believe in saying no to thousands of projects so that we can really focus on the few that are truly important and meaningful to us. We believe in deep collaboration and cross-pollination of our groups, which allow us to innovate in a way that others cannot. When in a headquarter, in Apple headquarter, when an interview takes place of a new joinee, it may go on till 12 hours. You might just have an arts background and you might just get selected. Why? Because they just want to be different. And therefore, they are trying to see if you can add some difference to the process that you will be handling. And that is why they say that, we believe in collaboration and cross-pollination of our groups, which allow us to innovate in a way that others cannot. And frankly, we don't settle for anything less than excellence in every group in the company. We have the self-honesty to admit when we are wrong and courage to change. And I think regardless of who is in what job, those values are embedded in the company, that Apple will do extremely well. So this is something, it's a detailed vision statement, and such detailing when we do for the organization's purpose. Vision statement is generally a 2-3 line, 4 lines. But when we do this kind of an analysis of the vision statement itself, then it guides the employees in more than one way. So all the processes, be it HR, be it admin, be it your manufacturing, be it designing, be it any function that you have, they become like a guiding principle for all the processes that we have in the organization. Of course, this is a detailed analysis, but generally they are not supposed to be very long ones because they often confuse people. Here, when we are talking about the detailed analysis, it only to reflect on the company's approach in ensuring continued growth and for everybody, so that it can get communicated to everybody in the hierarchy. So here, if we take down 2-3 points, one would be that it highlights keeping things simple, which is very much an integral part of an Apple's approach in the way they design their products and their development. It also mentions about innovation, which is the second part of it, and it is a part of their innovation strategy. And it also reflects how people are how carefully they select the markets. So if you combine all these above points, you can see that Apple's products, when it comes to the consumers, it's about user friendly, that they are user friendly and easy to use products. Clarity within myself, clarity within myself of concepts gets reflected and transmitted to the people who are listening to me, who are consuming my products. If I have clarity about what I want to position, how I want to position myself, the kind of values I want to have, the kind of things that I want to, how I want to stand by, it gets transmitted to the last person who is my stakeholder. If I don't have clarity within of anything, of whatever I'm trying to say, of whatever I'm trying to convey, of whatever I'm trying to sell, I will always have a confused positioning. I will always have a confused output. So vision statement, when I'm talking about, if it is completely clear, it shows the clarity within the organization, without the founder, within the founder's mind. It's a peek into the founder's mind. If you talk about the mission statement is now, when we talk about mission statement, it's more to do with how part of it. So Apple's corporate mission statement, if you listen to that, it's about to bring the best personal computing products and support to students, educators, designers, scientists, engineers, business personnel, consumers in these many countries around the world. So now we get to more specifics when it comes to vision, mission. It considers, when we are making the mission statement, when they are making the mission statement, they are considering the changing business landscape, because that actually ends up influencing the Apple Inc.'s, whatever they are, whatever they can do. So it ends up influencing that. For example, if the company, tomorrow wants to recognizes some trend and changes in consumer electronics market, and which is, resonating with the industry environment, then automatically, they will somewhere start innovation on those lines. So it designs Macs, it designs personal computers, it designs, whatever software that goes, the professional software that goes inside. And in the digital space, when it comes to music revolution, it was the iPods, which was a completely different technology that they came up with. The iTunes, the online stores. Some of these things, they were completely, pioneers in that. They have completely changed and revolutionized the whole idea of a mobile phone, and the kind of app stores they have, the kind of designer stores that they have. It's all defining the mobile media and the computing devices and the iPads that they have. So the detail in the product line, the detailing which is there in the product line, it shows and it depicts the current state of affairs. It depicts the business environment. It depicts the needs of the customers. So this is about the vision and the, do you think it is somewhere, whatever we are talking about the vision and the mission statement of Apple, is it resonating with what we have studied in theory? Any views on that? Anything anybody wants to say? Any ideas? Whatever we read about Apple's mission and vision statement, is it resonating with what the earlier part of discussion that we did before the break? When we were talking about values, when we were talking about ideologies, when we were talking about, Bhag, when we were talking about so many other things.
Man, there's one thing that they have this long term thought, which is like resonating with the Mark statement. They are very sure that they will keep their things innovative and elegant and simple, and it is like that from the beginning, and they are still doing it. So that is something which I understand they have
Yes.
from their vision.
Yeah, you're right. You are very right when you are saying that. Anybody else? Any other example that you want to have? Anything that you've seen? Yes, Mr. Dutt, today you're not speaking anything. Any inputs from you?
So yes, I mean, I couldn't have. Good morning. I couldn't have agreed more with for an organization to have a vision and mission statement. I mean, I for one am a very strong believer, and also for somebody who's a practitioner for so long, I also find this in organizations that sometimes, excepting for like hanging those frames in various chambers and this thing about vision and mission, the revisiting of this is sort of very little actually. So first, in the context of Apple, I think Apple is also what it is because of its vision and mission, because they articulated that so clearly. And like any good organization, they revisit it regularly. And I think how it translates, I think they do that also regularly, like any other organization, which I think there are many organizations which does that, but it's still in a minority. So how it will translate? So for example, when we talk in terms of, just as an example, that dignity of human beings, let's say in an organization, even as a delegation, so employees down to the last employee knows that whenever there is a conflict of values, this is something which will always reign supreme for the organization, because the organization lives that by way of its vision. So whether it is in the marketplace or whether it is anywhere, I think vision and mission are clearly articulated. This thing, as you have put on the screen, who we are and what we value, if it is articulated and if it is lived by, rather than just a statement, what we want to become, and therefore how we will achieve. So I think this slide is the all powerful slide, where it's sort of right from the mission statement to envisioning it to the strategy formulation with clear goals and objectives is very good. So my only thing from a practitioner's point of view is this has to be lived every day and sort of built into a culture, which many a times organizations fail in doing that, because sometimes they think that this is an exercise in theory, so to say. So organizations which succeed, like an Apple, Google, all of these organizations, and there are many other organizations as well, even a Mahindra and Mahindra, Larsen and Toubro, and all of that. I think they give a lot of importance, even in our country, like to this, and there is complete alignment between the vision, the goals, and the like even the most minuscule actions that they take even in operations of the company. So that's broadly my view from what I relate to my experience.
Yes, yes. And very rightly, as you said, it has to be weaved into the culture of the organization.
Yes.
That is very important. So when we talk about the culture of the organization, what we mean is that we are talking about the way each one behaves in the organization. What norms do we follow? The kind of mannerisms that we exhibit, the kind of processes that we choose over the others, the kind of fit, the strategic fit, because fit is also what it is a selection of activities which I choose over the others. Trade off. So even those trade-offs are a reflection of the vision statement that I have. So I'm making my choices basis the kind of values and the ideologies that I want to, and the long-term future that I see for myself. Basis that I make my and I design my strategic goals and objectives, and I plan my roadmap. Yes, but I need to weave it into the culture of the. So it should not be like one thing hanging on the outside the boardrooms, office kind of a thing. That okay, fine, it is there, it was supposed to be there, but it is never revisited. I think it has to be revisited every now and then. Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
yeah. So when you were reading this vision mission of Apple, I could recall a story which gave birth to iTunes and an iPod. Everybody might be knowing there was a story of Napster.com in US. In and that gave actual birth to this particular iTunes and the things like Napster. He was the guy who started creating MP3 songs of different things, and he started circulating on internet. Okay, it was in 97, 96, something like that, and it became so popular. But all the music industry was shattered because the copyrights and piracy was actually happening, and that guy was sentenced for imprisonment and something like that was happening over there. Steve Jobs could find business opportunity. So he came up with iTunes, and he said that, okay, if you want to listen a song, you will have to pay something, you will have to buy the subscription. And then the thing was so great, it became so popular that he thought that a small device, and nobody was having black other than black color in their microphone or headphone, and he came up with that white color of headphone and white color of iPod, and it was looking a trendy. So there is a concept called as market push. Always Apple has done this thing, like if you really are eligible to buy our product, then only go ahead with it. So nobody in the world dare to say like that. Means these are the things hidden or between the lines, I can say. So if I say I'm the best in the world and I'm fulfill all my commitments, so it becomes really tough for me to take that responsibility. So taking the responsibility is the toughest thing over here in this scenario when we state mission and vision. And Apple has always done that. So when you were saying that they are ready to reject thousands of things, so that is the power of mission and vision which brings them to the excellence. So right now also, if we can see the valuation of the company, it is always amongst top 3 or first companies. Yeah, there are companies like Amazon and Microsoft, they are giving the tough fight, but for a shorter period of time, uh, that mission and vision actually shows the power of the company.
And I'll tell you that many of the companies, for a very long time, they don't have these vision and mission statements. They are there in the market, they are doing very well, they must be doing very well, but you will never find a very concretized vision statement that they have. They are there, they are doing business, they have identified, they are good, but for that long lasting effect to come, that is where it is needed. Now I'll give you a small exercise to do. Just take 5-7 minutes. If I have to build in resilience into my, do you know, can anybody define what is resilience?
Ability to stay grounded, like to stick to whatever it is, like ability to stay grounded.
Ability to adapt to new trends and circumstances, you know.
Ma'am, it is never give up attitude, even in the turbulent times. Even if you get, shaken, you again rise up again. You bounce back to the normal or the original position.
Yeah. So it's the ability to withstand whatever adverse is happening. And why I'm giving you this exercise is that we are all facing this at a personal as well as professional level. I think nobody is untouched with adversity. So, as an organization, if you have to start thinking, if you have a business of your own, or if you're planning and you want to build in, so identify one something that you want to do or you're doing, and how in two ways, just in two sentences, two ways. You want to build up resilience into the system. So it's 9:45. I give you time of 7 to 8 minutes or 10 minutes. Just do this paper pen work for yourself. So if this is a value that I want to put into my system today, what will I do for that? And trust me, this is the most important thing that I need to weave into the culture of the organization in today's context, and it is here to stay. So I'm putting my video off now. Take 10 minutes. You have to identify a sector that you identify a sector or an organization where whichever you want to, whichever way you want to, and two ways in which you can build resilience into the system. We start at 10.
Hello, Shilpi ma'am. Okay, okay.
Somebody saying anything?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, could you please repeat the activity? Because of bad network, we were not able to hear anything.
So you have to select an organization wherever you
Okay.
imagine that scenario and try and tell us 2 points resilience into the system.
Okay.
In current context, how will you build in resilience into your organization?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Let's start the discussion. Let's start our strategic thinking, so to say. As our slide also says, strategic thinking. So this is a part of strategic thinking. I think you can do these slides, read these slides on your own, but then we need to translate this into action, and that is what we are doing. So strategic thinking. So who's going to share quickly, uh, about exercise that we're doing? How can we build resilience into the system? Be very brief so that all of us get a chance to speak. Yeah, Shiba, thanks for raising your hand. Good to hear from you. Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
please go ahead.
I just made a few points. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, but just an assumption that this could be. So
Yeah.
when you were talking about the Apple vision and mission statement, what I could make out was Apple always talks about its products, its customers, its target markets, and its technology, but it has never embedded a corporate image or employees among the other aspects. Whereas when we speak about some other companies, like Indian companies, also like Tata, it always talks about how it can nurture the employees. It is like responsibly creating a value into people's life. So this I found out, and in Nestle also they always talk about that they are a preferred employer. They always target on that factor that they are a preferred employer. So that was one aspect of it. And then the second thing which you said about bringing in resilience into the companies are like, I found out this pharma companies, what they are going through now. With their continuous R&D yield is there, but with the generic industry coming into the generic drugs, which has come into the market and which is giving such a low priced drugs, which is equivalent to the products what we find from big reputed pharma companies. I think this one trend or this wave which has come in has put into trouble a lot of pharma companies also to bring down their prices or to do their R&D to a level that they can get the medicines as good as the generic drugs. Like initially it was generic drugs which is focusing the higher pharma markets to get an equivalent product. But now we see that the pharma companies are coming down to the level of generic medicines to ensure that the clients are getting medicines or the patients are getting medicines which are at par. So I think here also resilience works a lot, because here it is not just about the strategic resilience. Like when you talk about resilience, it's a one-time jump of coming up and trying to show up from your adversity. But I think this process has to be a continuous process in an organization, where down the level the focus has to be that we are not going to get tired with problems and we are going to find innovative ways and we are not going to give up. So I think if that mission and vision statement is given, which is articulated down the line, so that every employee in the organization works towards the same goal. Like it is about continuously anticipating and adjusting to deep and secular trends that can permanently impair the earning power of a core business. So here, having the capacity to change is what I felt, that having a good capacity to change before the case becomes worst is a good resilience power which an organization can hold.
Okay. Yeah.
Is what I felt.
Thank you, Shiba. I
Thank you, ma'am.
Folks in the end. Yeah. So quickly, anybody else? Yes, Ujjwala.
Uh, yes, ma'am. What I noticed is this resilience. Now we are going through this tough times of pandemic. So what will help? I have taken actually the education sector, but it can be helpful in any other sector. Like we have to do the case study of the past example, like Hiroshima and Nagasaki is the best example when they're totally destroyed and how they came up, with that resilient nature of them, so how they built up. So what we have to learn the lessons from the past. It can be earthquake, tsunami, whatever natural disaster we have undergone. So even past pandemics, that can the lessons learned, so that can be there. That is a one thing. Second thing is we have to weave this resilient nature in our vision, yeah, mission statement, so that each and every employee should be aware of this. And when we are recruiting the people, might as well we have to test them on that their skills, problem solving skills and critical thinking. It can be disaster management also, because thinking in this critical time is most important characteristic which the people have to. And then we have to build up to the regular trainings and monitoring the business. We have to regularly have that thing. Like for example, see, now we are locked down, people are just afraid of not going out. But imagine, we have electricity, we have got water, everything. Just imagine, without electricity, without water, if we have to survive, then how will we survive? Network, there is not a net for single hour, then we are like restless, especially this new generation. So I think in regular times also, this practice session should be taken, where there is no light today whole day. In organization also we can have. Then how will you work if there is no network, if there is no electricity or water nahi hai? You have to survive without water. So this will all build up, so that will be, the skills will be developed naturally, and people will start thinking, yes, ki without this also we can survive. I think that's what I thought. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Ujjwala. Okay, we have Ketaki now. She raised her hand, I think.
Yes, ma'am. So, discussing upon resilience in organizations, there were two things that came to my mind. The first thing was the one main domain is leadership. So, leaderships, like in earlier times, the leader usually was portrayed as the superhero. Like he's not vulnerable, he's invincible. But in changing times, with all this pandemic and all these situations coming up, if the leader portrays or displays his vulnerability to his team with a tactful balance, it basically establishes a greater human connect, so that everyone feels that they are in the same boat. And that actually helps the team to grow and flourish and come out of any obstacle that is in front of them. So one thing is that, and another thing is that, for example, whenever any organization, they hire certain good people according to their psychometric tests and evaluations, etc. So these people, they do not need rigid instructions, because they are being hired looking their at their qualifications, expertise. They need a bit of freedom, because if they keep repeating the same instructions over and over again, the product is not going to be very different. So they also need a bit of freedom. So these two things, I feel, can add to the resilience factor.
Thank you, Ketaki. Okay, I think Harshada raised her hand after this.
Yes, good morning, ma'am. So I had the same point of education sector. So during 1 year, we saw that every other sector has come up with some innovation or thinking to build resilience and to bring up their sector. Means if again the pandemic happens, their sector will not get affected. But education is the sector which is mostly under government undertakings and all. So it has not been so resilient. I mean, it's been 1 year, and still they easily said that all schools will get closed and exams get cancelled. So for that, they have not found any solution. From 1 year, the situation of education sector is same. And also, they say that the remote areas students don't have internet connection, and so we cannot teach them for the year, and hence they cannot give exams. So this has also not changed for 1 year. So all in some other countries they are taking online exams, but in our country it is not possible. So they have not brought resilience. So I feel that resilience can be brought by changing the curriculum. Anyway, they change the curriculum 3 years per year. 3 years, every 3 years they change the curriculum. So they can change the curriculum to more application based, more picture based. As we see our MML PPTs now, so they have video, audio, everything. So like that they can change the curriculum so that children can understand that easily. And as government brought a innovative idea of Ujjwala Yojana. For that, they made a woman to go to banks and open their accounts. So similar idea they can use in education sector, so that every child gets opportunity to learn.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, dear. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Webber, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I will consider example of my own company. Uh, so we are the two directors in the company. So I have posted a link in chat box which says something about global goals. So if we visit that particular thing, we'll find the 17 global goals officially known as Sustainable Development Goals set by World Economic Forum. So they talk about no poverty, zero hunger, good health, and well-being. So what we have done in our organization, we have tried to align our goals with these goals, and we are focusing on a statement which can be said as understanding the trends and forecast the technological needs and change the internal as well as external environment accordingly and become a learning organization. Okay, so 4 years 5 years back we were just focusing on getting the projects and all that. Now we are focusing on getting new products developed. So right now we have developed one in-house product related to IoT. We have collaboration with other companies related to blockchain system. So we have changed our company structure so that it becomes more user friendly. Why I'm saying user friendly, because we have understood that the new generation which is joining us, they have questions, and if you don't answer the question, they will not stay with you. Like I can see in my family also, if the moment I ask my younger brother to अरे उनके पाँव छुओ वो अंकल के, तो he will ask why. 4 दिन पहले हम उन्हीं अंकल के बारे में, मतलब जनरली फूफा जी कैरेक्टर, फूफा जी के बारे में कुछ अलग बात कर रहे थे, और आप बोल रहे हो कि उनके पाँव छुओ. So this generation is like that. To take those stakeholders or the people understand the technology and forecast the things. Like I was teaching a subject in one or in a college called as technology forecasting, and they saw that whatever they forecasted in year 2000, right now it is true. Okay, all the science fiction movies now, they are no more science fiction movies. So to give a definition to the real meaning to the resilience word is to predict and see how the trends are happening and how the world sustainability goals are aligned, and you have to align yourself with that. So joining this course is again out of that plan to become or make yourself sustainable. Otherwise you will be thrown out of the market if you say that we don't like teaching online or we don't like learning online. So you'll have to sit at home and do nothing.
So it basically takes care of you, of your thing to be on learning curve. Okay. Uh, who's there now?
Ma'am, I would like to speak.
Yeah, Priyanka.
Yeah. So, be it any sector,
Deep and quick.
yeah. Be it any sector, I can see the like lot of difference. Even my son's school has started with emotional intelligence training. They have started with, he's 5 years old, and they have started with this new thing. I think in crisis times it has been really helpful. And coming to the hospital service industries like hospital sector, there have been there are even the paramedics have been educated to handle up the emergency situations. So there have been not only like one thing focused. They try to enhance their skill set even to manage this crisis effectively. So handling up emergency situations and to give that good kind of trust to the patients that they are there for all the times. So that is making a big difference for the organization, health, the private hospitals to give a good kind of services to their patients.
Thank you. Thanks, Priyanka. Who's left now? Mr. Dutt, you are left? Yeah. So 2 bits from you.
Yeah. So I'll specifically, so the I think what we need to do is to examine this in the context of how to create a culture or the mechanism in the workplace for resilience. So I think one of the aspects which I would sort of focus on is the coping capability. So it's like a disaster management system. So when this hits, or any, I mean the pandemic is of course a once in a hundred-year kind of a thing. But any disaster management or this the coping thing has to be practiced the most, accepting that there are many other mechanisms that need to be followed, and there all also has to be a lot of practice for that. So I was reminded of this story which was featured in Harvard Business Review, where when the World Trade Center came down, it was a simple practice of these people, like there was this safety head who would practice at a certain periodicity the evacuation as a routine. So it was embedded in the culture of the organization, and people would actually mock and laugh at him, but then it is like preparing for a cyclone on a sunny day. So nobody really thinks. But then that when the World Trade Center was hit, his company was the one where and it was on one of the topmost floors, and not one person died. It's a different matter that he died because he went back to save others. So this, or if you look at this Captain Sally thing on the Hudson, this thing. So my point is that the coping thing is, first of all, we need to be able to create and sensitize the organization that across board there will be events such as this that may happen, this or to a lesser degree. And then whether it is resource deployment, allocation to deployment, to know the role of the individual, that every individual will make a difference, to positivities, to the techniques of managing this, that resilience has to be taught and practiced every day or at a given periodicity. The coping mechanism does not happen one fine morning just as well. So in emotional intelligence, we read amygdala hijack. So amygdala hijack happens often, right? So the organization as a whole cannot suffer from amygdala hijack. And like the examples which Weber was also giving, that resource allocation, for example, what IT, when the sort of the calamity hits us, what is the preparedness of the organization in terms of its infrastructure is a separate issue, so to say. But the general sensitization and preparedness of the organization and training has to happen on a continuous basis so that people are able to cope.
Yes, thank you. Uh, okay, Shilpi has also spoken about empathy and upskilling. So that is, I take from Shilpi's inputs. Yes, all of you have, from various perspectives, rightly pointed out various things. Now, I would like to tell you one very basic thing. When it comes to, and I'm not talking about resilience here, I'm talking in general. When we have these kind of discussions in the, and when anything is like, for example, today's topic was building resilience, and we will keep having these kind of this thing, because this actually triggers our strategic thinking. So, what my this thing inputs for you today would be that start developing more clarity of thought process, move from complexity to simplicity. There are a lot of jargons, there are a lot of things, the world news and the global news and the Indian news that we come across. Lot of inputs are there on internet, lot of things are there on Google, and all these things are there. Whenever we conduct this kind of an exercise, it's for me. It's for me as an individual. It's to trigger my thought process and not air out what others are doing. Others can definitely, when it comes to gyan, knowledge, yes. But then from knowledge, I need to move to practice. So when I'm asking here, we talk about a lot of things. But if I want to build resilience into my organization or my setup, what are those two things that I would do? Like Weber shared that he wants to become a learning organization. So that is his way of, sort of building resilience into the system. Like, Shilpi said, I want to build an empathy. Now, very good, but how? I want to upskill. How? I am taking care of, I'm aware about the pharma sector, and they are into generic. I mean, we know that, how they have worked on generic drugs and how the prices have come down and others. So that is what others are doing. What am I doing? What will be my 2 bits? So a lot of things are happening. I need to move from that complex world to my simple world, wherein if I want resilience into my system, what are those 2 things that I will do? So if I want to weave in empathy, how will I weave in empathy? Like, for example, L'Oreal, they are trying to connect with the workforce and provide them support and cushion in these pandemic times. How? By providing them training. The hairdressers are given training that even in such times, how, because that industry is facing a big time challenge. Entire beauty and these spas and these this thing, they and pandemic is almost like here to stay. How do we sustain those business models now? So what are they doing? If I am trying to motivate my workforce, build a better connection, because I was talking about centralized structures, I was talking about decentralized structures, I was talking about teams, project teams, but here I'm in a virtual setup now, structure now. I have no boss over my head. So how do I instill that kind of motivation and that resilience in my, how to create that connect with my employees, that even if I'm not there on their head, then they still feel motivated towards accomplishment of my vision statement or my mission? What do I do? If I'm talking about educational structure also, and if I'm talking about changing the curriculums, and if I'm talking about all those things which government, that is for government to see, what can I do in the educational system, whatever it is, in my limited capacity, what can I do? So I think we need to move from complexity to simplicity. And when I move, and that is very intrinsic, I need to solve out things within myself when I'm doing that. We will keep discussing these things, but then start thinking and start observing. That will give you knowledge, but then try to develop your strategic thinking in such a way that what is my, so if you have read that book, it's a very very famous book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a very very nice book. I mean, it's a very old book, but and I'm sure all of you must have read it, and all of you must have at some point of time. So it talks about circle of influence. It talks about circle of concern. So most of the times we are in circle of concern, and we are talking about a lot of things which are outside us. So start thinking about yourself. It will simplify things. I'm sure. I mean, do you agree with that? Is somewhere things resonating with you? If that will start happening, introspection and reflection will, that requires introspection and reflection, which is the foundation of your emotional intelligence course. Introspection and reflection. So make yourself, it starts from self-awareness. Self-awareness, it also starts from awareness about what is happening in the world. It starts from there, but then somewhere it has to percolate within us. Okay, so it's 10:20. Thank you all for joining.
What's the book name?
7 Habits
the
of
book,
Highly Effective.
no, the Titan book which you said.
I will
Titan.
I will tell you. I will tell you next time. I will show you the book.
Sure.
I have in my library.
Okay, done.
I will show you the
Is
book.
it Tools of Titan? I just googled it. Is it Tools of Titan?
Ma'am, is it
And it's
by Vinay Kamath, the
I
author?
will, I will,
sure, sure.
I will send it to Ujwala. Okay, she can,
No problem. Yeah,
or I
thank
will
you.
show you in the next class. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you so much,
So
ma'am.
much, ma'am. Thank you.